Story 1. I think John Oliver paid off my medical debt, and it kills me that I'll never know for sure. It's been almost 10 years, and this still keeps me awake at night. In 2015, I was struggling big time with my mental health. I won't go into details other than to say that one night I decided that my life wasn't important. I tried to end it. My amazing roommate at the time took me to urgent care, where my life was saved. From there, I was sent involuntarily to a behavioral health center. I was super young and vulnerable. I just turned 19 and had no idea how to navigate the healthcare system. I didn't want my parents to know, so I was on my own. The doctors and police who sent me to the facility promised that it took my insurance. In hindsight, I should have checked at the facility, but I didn't know better. Eventually, I did tell my parents. I was released, dropped out of college to heal with my family, and that was when my parents told me that the bill for both my visit and the facility had arrived. This was when I learned that it either didn't take my insurance or covered very little. Because I was so fragile at the time, my parents didn't tell me any details other than that it was a lot, insurance wasn't covering it, and that they'd handle it. I remember how stressed my mom got every time another bill came in. Every time this happened, I think that it would have been better if I just died that day. And then one day my mom comes to me and tells me that my debt was gone. Forgiven. I was blown away. When I asked, she said someone had bought the debt and forgiven it. That was it. No more details. I think there was a name of the company that bought it, but I don't remember it now. Y'all, this blew my mind. It felt like someone had taken this horrible burden that I'd struck my family with and wiped it away. It was like I was being given permission to keep living. Like I'd been given a fresh start. The timeline is a bit fuzzy, but a couple of months or so later, John Oliver aired the story about medical debt on Last Week Tonight. If you don't know, he essentially purchased and forgave 15 millimeters of medical debt. I wanted to cry. Obviously, I have no idea if it was him or some random stranger. Part of me wants to know, because whoever did that gave me a fresh start. I got my first job, went back to college, and now I'm married and just had my first kid. No matter who did it, I'm forever grateful. They literally changed my life. Edit someone pointed out that he bought medical debt that was 7 years without payment. My mom was making payments, and the debt wasn't that old, so it wasn't John. Honestly, this doesn't change my feelings on the matter other than a nice bit of closure. Whoever paid my debt may well have saved my life a second time, and I'm forever grateful. Daisy Chain 0606 says, "That's the nicest thing I've read today, and I'm glad you're feeling and doing better." Licorice Sunfish says, "Write a letter to the show about how having this debt paid transformed your life. It will be a similar story to recipients of his generosity." It's underscore Nick B1TCH says, "I watched this episode when it aired. It is so nice to see someone who actually benefited." Story 2. I'm being sexually harassed by my stepdaughter. I feel like I'm living with a demon. I've been in a relationship with my wife for 13 years, and her daughter was 3 years old at the time. Everything went really well until she started entering adolescence, and from that point on, she began to be a bit too tactile with me for my liking. She would pretend to kiss me by quickly bringing her mouth close to mine, play footsie with me under the table, ask me to scratch her back, and then asking me to go lower. In short, completely inappropriate behavior. My wife and I have tried everything, including 2 whole years of family therapy, during which she would go as far as to say that she was madly in love with me and wanted to spend the rest of her life by my side. The therapist suspected sexual abuse, but nothing came of it. Later, she got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. We don't know what to do anymore. I have another little girl who is 6 years old, whom I had with my wife, and I must say that if it weren't for her, I think I would have already left the household. It's becoming unbearable. I've tried yelling, explaining, crying. Ignoring it doesn't work. Sometimes I have to pick her up from school, and all her friends know about it. She tells everyone that she's crazy about me, which leads to extremely unpleasant situations when I meet other parents at school meetings or events. I don't attend them anymore, by the way. 3 days ago, I got violent with her. I slapped her with the back of my hand when she touched my thighs while I was driving. I went fucking nuts, telling her that she was a whore, that she was destroying our family, that I wanted to kill her, kill myself. Yeah, I went berserk. She just smiled. Like her why, it was fucking surreal. I don't fucking know what to do. We still have 1 year left before she's 18, and at that time we could do some legal stuff to make it stop. But I don't even know if my wife would go through that. Sometimes I feel like she just wants me to leave die. My wife is in a deep depression, and so am I. I'm taking anxiolytics, started smoking again, and some days I don't even come home. I go to my brother's place and pretend I had something urgent to do. Everyone knows why, but some days I just can't take it anymore and need some breathing room. Friday, I stayed at home while they went on some family trip, and I checked her laptop because I know she takes photos of me like a fucking paparazzi. Well, fuck, there's a whole file with picture of me. I took some photos because I started to gather evidences, and I didn't even have the energy to confront her later that night when they came home. I won't even tell you about her browsing history. I'm losing my mind, and our poor little girl has to live in this nightmare. I'm fucking crying. I want this demon to disappear. I feel like even if she leave the house, my marriage is over. I sometimes feel like my wife think I did something to make this happen. It's killing me. I didn't do shit. She's just fucking nuts. I don't know how this will end, but I don't see any happy ending. If someone here has a bright idea, feel free to tell me, because I'm actually losing my mind. Edit, I got an appointment with a lawyer tomorrow morning. I packed a bag for my daughter and I talked to my wife and I said I'm leaving to my brother's house with our daughter. She just went silent, prepared a backpack with snacks for our 6 years old, and she hugged her and said goodbye. I just arrived at my brother's house. I'm honestly a mess. I had my wife on the phone. She was sobbing and couldn't even speak for 10 straight minutes. She said she couldn't make a choice and felt trapped, but knows that we tried everything. She calmed down and talked to our daughter and told her we'll be together soon. I feel like my heart is about to stop, but my brother is the fucking man. He took his daughter's bed out of the attic and made a room for us in like 2 hours. So yeah, I left home tonight and have a meeting with a lawyer tomorrow morning. I took 2 weeks off from work. I don't fully understand my wife's position yet. I don't know if she'll follow me in the legal process of getting that demon out of our life or if she's still under her spell. At this point, I told her I don't care what she does anymore. The most important thing is that our daughter is away from that evil. And oh yeah, I took the laptop. Bull Buster ADS says, your wife shouldn't even put you in that situation that you would have to pick her up from school, etc. I would refuse to be alone with her and install cameras because your step demon will manipulate continuously. Retro Burner says, have her committed while she's still underage. You won't be able to force her to get help once she becomes an adult. I'm saying this because I wish my parents had done that for my sister, who is mentally disturbed. Now she's basically a homeless heroin addict and refuses our help. Second Does No TZ says, brother, the moment she realizes that she can't have you, she's going to make some very serious accusations and get you thrown in jail, killed, or at best ruin your life. Thanks for watching. I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.